Hey friends, what's up? Derek here from Bomb Socks, back with a new week of Bomb Bites where we feast upon the words of Christ one bite at a time. So this week I'm excited to get into the book of Hebrews with you, and we're going to spend the next 2 weeks in the book of Hebrews. The goal is to do chapters 1 through 6 this week, and then next week to do 7 through 13, but we're really going to kind of bob and weave all through. One thing to start off with the book of Hebrews, and there's a lot of Christian debate out there about this. The question that's brought up is who actually is the writer of the book of Hebrews? Now, it's always been tradition that this has been written by the Apostle Paul. It just seems to kind of flow in, it's right after his other books. But there is something very cool in the Come Follow Me for this week, which I really want to acknowledge, and I think it's awesome. Some scholars have questioned whether Paul wrote the epistle to the Hebrews. The literary style of Hebrews is somewhat different from Paul's other letters, and the earliest versions of the text did not name an author. However, because the ideas expressed in Hebrews are consistent with Paul's other teachings, and you're going to see that quite a bit, Latter-day Saints, in keeping with Christian tradition, have generally accepted that Paul was at least involved in writing this epistle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach this as if Paul was the writer of the book of Hebrews. Now, if someone comes out tomorrow and says, hey, it was actually Peter, or it was Barnabas, or Silas, or one of these others, to me, I'd be like, okay, so here's what Peter said. To me, that doesn't matter, because that's not the focus of the book. The focus of the book of Hebrews is very much Jesus Christ. In fact, you're going to see here one example. I'm actually going to jump forward to Hebrews chapter 10, just to show you an example of this. Now, one of the things is that it'll show you that Jesus Christ is greater than anything else. So the Jews, the Hebrews, they had a hard time breaking away from this old idea of the law of Moses and then focusing on Jesus Christ. You saw that kind of all through Paul's letters as well. But you get into chapter 10. Now, I know chapter 10 is next week, but I think it applies right here. And we'll come back to this even next week. Chapter 10, verse 1, it says, "For the law," meaning the law of Moses, "having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins." So here Paul, or whoever the author is, I'll call him Paul, is getting to the root of why they do those sacrifices. Now you go down to verses 10 through 12. "By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. And every priest standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices which can never take away sins. But this man," meaning Jesus Christ, "after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of God. For by one offering he hath perfected forever them that are sanctified." And so that shows you right there. Here Paul is saying, look, the law is fine. It is something that is a shadow of good things to come, but it in and of itself is not going to save you. It focuses on Jesus Christ, which again was a message all through Paul's writings before. Cool little quote here from Joseph Fielding McConkie, BYU professor. He said, "Hebrews is to the New Testament what Leviticus is to the Old." Now, some of you are probably like, oh, good, that makes me excited to study Hebrews, because I remember reading Leviticus in the Old Testament. It's very difficult to understand. Lots of ordinances and lots of sacrifices. But again, all of those focus on Jesus Christ. So you kind of have to wade through those and recognize why they were doing that. Leviticus announces the Mosaic system, or the Mosaic law, while Hebrews explains it. In it, Paul shows how the gospel grew out of the soil of the Levitical order. By the light of the gospel restored in his day, he shows how the Levitical system was intended as a bridge by which those in the wilderness of carnality could cross over to the rest of the Lord. None of the books in the New Testament, the Gospels included, are more Christ-centered than Paul's epistle to the Hebrews. Bold statement, but I think there's a lot of clarity to that. In it, Paul seeks to show Christ as the fulfillment of the Mosaic system. The imagery of the Mosaic system finds its reality in Jesus of Nazareth and his atoning sacrifice. So as you go through the book of Hebrews, particularly these next 2 weeks as we're studying it, I want you to remember that Jesus Christ is the fulfillment of the law, and Jesus Christ is greater than anything else out there. You will see it very clearly as you study the book of Hebrews. I love the book of Hebrews, and I am so excited to study it with you. Grateful for it, and I'm grateful how Christ-centered this book is. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks as always for sharing these messages. If you like what you see, please like this, and that will get it out to more people, and share this with others. We're so grateful that you do that. And of course, if you haven't already, please go check out our amazingly comfortable gospel themed socks at bombsocks.com. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.